What's happening, everybody? Welcome. Today is Thursday, April 7th, 2022. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup. Well, good morning to Mark and Jenny and Ray and Dennis and Liz. How are you? Hope you're well. Hope you had a great Wednesday. Hope you're looking forward to an awesome Thursday. It's going to rain here, but I did get outside a little bit yesterday. It was really nice. I went and it was the last day of maple. Pulled the last little bit of sap off one of the trees. And then I went and I checked the birch trees. And one of them had 1.5 gallons in 24 hours. Absolutely insane. Yay! So finishing off the boil, I got to do it a little bit at a time, get to the right consistency on the maple, and started boiling birch sap. My house just smells like sap. Plumber was here yesterday. We went over and we're going to do some renovations in the bathroom this summer. And he walks in, he's like, smells good in here. Yeah, that's a whole bunch of maple sap boiling. Good morning also to Andy. I want to hear from all of you for lunch yesterday. Did you have anything great for lunch? I want to know. And if not, why? If you skipped lunch, why'd you skip lunch? We'll start there. Had just what I was so out of it yesterday. I've had a recurring call with the same client at the same time on Wednesday for I don't know how long. And I called her an hour early. And we were an hour into the call, and then my calendar pops up and says, "Hey, you got to call this client in 5 minutes." And I went, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I called you an hour early." She's like, "Yeah, it's fine." I was so focused on a project that we were working on that I just completely couldn't function with time. Good morning, Nathan and Tommy. What else did I do? I did a bunch of projects and errands, and I'm consolidating banks. Have you ever done that? Have you ever switched banks? It's a pain in the butt. I currently have 4 banks, and I'm trying to get down to 2. And took a big step with moving some stuff around yesterday. It's so messy. And of course, one of the banks is going to be really sad when I tell them that I'm going away because I've been with them for 20 years. And I know people at the bank. Like, I can walk in and just be like, "Hey," and they don't even ask my name, and they just look me up and do what I need done. But the fees are killing me. So, good morning, Brian. Nobody's telling me about yesterday's lunch. I really want to know. Maybe you don't believe me, but I do. Andy had an awesome breakfast smoothie. For lunch? Isn't it a lunch smoothie at that point? Took a look at today's episode of Martial Arts Radio. Episode 699 today, you guys. 699 times we have done this. It's hard to believe. 699. Today's episode is about the school owners mastermind that we put together that is a benefit of Patreon. So here's the deal. Andrew and I worked hard to make sure that there was value in the episode, even if you were not going to participate in it. We talked about groupthink. We talked about a whole bunch of things. And hopefully you find it interesting. Maybe you learned something. And yeah, I'm not going to lie. Hopefully some of you out there who own schools say, this sounds like a really good deal and something I'd like to get in on. And we add a couple more people to the mastermind. That is the hope. But I never want to just do commercials with the podcast feed. I listen to podcasts that do that. Like, all right, today we're announcing this new thing. And they spend the whole time talking about the thing. And like, that's great. But what if I don't want to buy the thing? What if I can't buy the thing? What if I just bought a thing? Provide value to me beyond just telling me I should buy this thing. And I feel we did that. Mark had clam chowder. Jenny had a bowl of berries and some Greek yogurt. Tommy says yum to that. What did I have? Turkey. Anything else? I think it was just turkey. Like literally, I heated up turkey in a pan and ate it. Ground turkey. Ground turkey is a big staple in my diet. Yesterday for lunch, the other meal, dinner. Yesterday for dinner, I had forgotten how efficient my Instant Pot was when I was going to eat rice. That's why I stopped using it, because I stopped eating rice for a while. Throw in the rice, throw in the water, throw in whatever else you want to cook. I threw in like some chunks of broccoli and a piece of frozen fish, and it was great. And it was done, and I just kind of mashed it up, and I ate it, and it was tasty. And it took like 20 minutes to cook, but it also took like 5 minutes of prep work. Mark says the mastermind is unbelievable. Kelly says it is a lot of fun being in the mastermind. I look forward to the next one as soon as it is over. Brian had a lean cuisine protein bowl, orange chicken. So we've got a couple people who are in the mastermind here, and they're like, yeah, this is good stuff. If we had a way to do more mastermindy type things, like I think it brings together a lot of my skill sets. The ability to ask questions and kind of shepherd a conversation and pull information out of people. And I think everyone that is in it benefits from it. I know they do, because they wouldn't do it otherwise. Anybody bought this mug yet? The answer is none of you have bought this mug. I know, because I have access to these things, and I can look and see who's bought this mug. Oh, not any of the first cup peeps. What else? Anything else I want to talk about from yesterday? Went to the gym, pet the dog, played video games for a few minutes, had a hard time falling asleep. Today I've got acupuncture, got a meeting with Andrew about All In Weekend. We just had a meeting about All In Weekend, you say. Yes, we did. That's how hard we're working on this for you. More meetings. I like meeting with Andrew because it's fun, because we're friends and we get to talk about good stuff. Continued the adventure of doing a thing for myself. There's the thing that I'm working on. You'll know. When it's time, you'll know. You probably won't be the first to know, but you'll know. I'll tell you. Brian says, we just got called out, y'all. Hey, I'm not saying you have to buy this mug. I'm not. You don't. It's okay. It's a fun design. It is very helpful to me when to try different things with our products and see what sells and what doesn't. What do we've got going? We've got a new. Let's see, how many designs are in development right now that you don't know about? There are samples on, I think, 2 things in the works. They're on the way. One of them just got delayed shipping again because it's getting made in China. And another one, the designer and I are having a hard time having a meeting of the minds, putting this concept together. I've got an idea. We might just end up. I've got a backup idea that will be much simpler to put together, and we may just scrap what we're doing and go to that. We'll see. Brian says he'll be ordering one. He hadn't seen it yet. It's a fun design. It's simple. Like most of the time, when I see people do mugs like this, you don't need to do martial arts to be cool, but it helps, right? Like, how many mugs like this are, number one grandpa and dad and world's best, whatever, right? like they're cheesy. And the team originally pitched something to me along these lines. It was really cheesy. And I was like, what if we do this? And we actually spent a surprising amount of time going back and forth on this. Um, I don't know. I like it. If I didn't like it, we wouldn't have done it. We don't put stuff out that I don't like. So there you go. Okay. I think that's good. I feel like I'm getting all rambly. So we're going to talk about this in a few minutes, but I want to give you a chance to think about it. So yesterday on the Facebook group, I asked, how did I word it? Come on, switching pages. For Thursday, choose 3 techniques for any and all self-defense. Post them. And it was interesting because people seem to think I meant the attacks. I meant the defense. I'm limiting you to 3 techniques that you can use regardless of the self-defense situation. You've got a very simple toolkit to pull from. 3 techniques. What would those 3 techniques be? So I would like those of you watching live to think about that, or listening later, whatever. Just think about it, and then let's chat about it in a few minutes. Until then, let's talk about what Frank has given us. Today, Jackie Chan turns 68. Jackie Chan was my first favorite martial arts actor. I remember seeing Rumble in the Bronx at the movies in high school, and it just changed my life. Not like in a dramatic way, but just, wow, this is a really good movie. It's really fun. It's not the cheesy kung fu films that I've seen and can't get through. Because, yeah, that's what, when we have guests on the show and they're like, they were transfixed by watching Kung Fu Theater on Saturday morning. That was not me. I was like, yeah, some of the fight scenes are fun, but the rest of it is just so lame. I couldn't do it. Jackie Chan's films, once he came to America, actually had a plot and were worth watching. So today, Jackie Chan turned 68. Happy birthday. Family is not whose blood is in you. It's who you love and who loves you. Yeah. It's been my definition of family for a long time. Not word for word, but just this idea. Some of you know I was not blessed with a great roll of the dice in the biological family. So I've, from a very early age, was looking around at who could be my family? Who could I lean on? Who does love me? Who do I love? And honestly, now, a large portion of the people I consider family are you guys, folks that I know through whistlekick, some of whom I've never met in person. It's pretty great. Checking back on comments. Mark says plot with a question mark. He must disagree. Jenny, hold that comment from Matt. We're not ready. Tommy and Dennis, hold on. Don't answer these yet. Like we're talking about Jackie Chan. Number 2, the best fights are the ones we avoid. Or, as I've said, the only way you win a fight is to avoid it. You cannot lose, but the idea that those are the only 2 outcomes, win and lose, I reject that. You can I don't know, not win, not lose. We need a third term in the middle, because when 2 people get in a fight, I think for both, you know what? Both people lose. One just loses worse. That's probably a better way to say it. But what about defusing, de-escalating, walking away, yada yada? It's such a better choice. And then number 3, the children right now, the young children, everybody should go to a martial arts school. Why? because as soon as they go to a martial arts school, they learn discipline. I have advocated for this. I will continue to advocate for this. If you have a martial arts school and you are a full-time teacher or have the ability to teach classes during the day, you should. Because there is a growing homeschool population, and martial arts classes check so many boxes. There are schools that run classes during the day. They don't say they're for homeschool students, but let's face it, they generally are if they're kids' classes. And they do well because there aren't a lot of great options for kids during the day. You become their gym class and their health class and their ethics class, and to a certain degree, their social studies and history class. Lots of options. I don't know that my pursuit of having a martial arts school is ever destined for full time. If it is, it's probably not me teaching the majority of the classes, which is fine. If it does happen, though, we will look at how do we put together these classes, because I think they're incredibly valuable. I like how so many of you don't follow directions. I'm going to make every one of you repost it because I can't scroll back up that far. Tommy says, win, lose, not lose. You just increased your odds by 33% with this mindset. Yeah. Tommy says, afternoon homeschool classes are now available at my school. Awesome. Take care, Andy. All right. Now I will ask you to post your answers. So here's why I think this is valuable. We tend, when we talk about self-defense, we as martial artists quite often get bogged down in the best answer to any given situation. And yeah, if you've been training a long time, you can come up with a whole bunch of different answers to any problem, any self-defense problem. And you're probably pretty good at coming up with one or two that make a lot of sense. Here's the problem. Until you've been training for a long time, and even then for most people, that is too complicated. Most people, the moment adrenaline comes up, they don't think clearly. And unless you've spent a lot of time working through your reactions under adrenaline, it's probably not going to go the way you want. Which is why I think it is a great mental exercise, if nothing else. What are the 3 things that you would choose? Here are mine. A jab, just a generalized punch, a knee, and what was the third one I had? Jab, knee, and then probably an elbow. Probably some kind of elbow, right? Because it works up close. And so here's why. If someone is at distance that they can hit me, I can probably punch them. If they're a threat, I can probably punch them. I can probably punch them in almost regardless of angle. I can punch them if they have their hands on me. I can punch them to the face. I can punch them to the throat. I can punch them to the ear. I can punch their arm. It's a very versatile technique. Jenny says, listen, you have a group of crazy people filling up with coffee and you expected us to follow directions. This is on you. Well, maybe it's on me for thinking you were all capable of that. Yes, I'm holding you responsible too. The knee, because if I'm in any kind of grab situation, if someone has grabbed me, there's a good chance I can knee them. If I'm too close for the punch, I can probably knee them. I can knee them in the top of the thigh. I can knee them in the groin. I can knee them in the gut. an elbow. And this is where it starts to break down a little bit, right? Because somebody might say, oh, well, you've got all these different angles of elbow. To me, those are different techniques. Maybe you don't consider them. I do. Why do I consider them different techniques? Because I was taught and teach them as different techniques. The the mechanics of it throwing an elbow across the body in front are different than the mechanics of throwing an elbow behind. Just because it's the same striking surface does not make it the same technique. So this leaves me with pretty much nothing from behind, which is a bummer. But the elbow I'm thinking of is more of an upwards elbow, okay? Because I can use that as a guard, it's a cover, and it's a strike, and and if somebody's on top of me while I'm on the ground, I can do that. I can knee, I can punch. It works in a lot of different situations. So now that I've explained the logic, what do you all have? What are your three techniques? Jenny says that Matt says low block, plier hand. I don't know what that is. Is that this? Some kind of open hand strike? Side kick. Jenny's thinking. Dennis says, picking up from an earlier discussion, you guys are copying and pasting. Stomp the groin, re-stomp the groin, re-stomp the groin. Jenny says, and this is exactly why we're doing this. I'm having trouble picking three techniques because I don't usually think about which technique I would use in a real fight. I usually think I need to get to vital points fast and just use what works in a given situation. I need to think about this more. Good. Okay. Jenny says, yes, it's that. So plier hand is what they call this. It's a great technique. It's really only useful in one spot. See, and we could have a lot of discussion on this, and we're not going to. We don't really have the time, but I would encourage all of you, if you have martial arts friends, the next time you're in person with one of them, talk about this. If you only had one technique, what it would be. If you only had two techniques, what would you add? If you only had three, what new one would you add? Does adding the third change the first two? Right? We're talking about a toolbox that we can pull from, and sometimes you got to rearrange the toolbox. I like thinking about this because I think it's important when we start teaching self-defense to people that we teach the most versatile techniques. The most versatile techniques are generally the simplest. The way a lot of schools teach self-defense, and I like this from the academic side, I don't like this from the practical side. If you're here and someone attacks you with this technique, here's the 5 movements you're going to do. It's too many. It's too complicated, and it's not versatile enough. I'm going to block in this way, and then I'm going to turn the shoulder over, and then I'm going to grab the wrist, and I'm going to turn and pivot, step back, and I'm going to twist the wrist, and then I'm going to apply an armbar. Great. But if you're on, that works if someone comes in with a haymaker on this side, but if they come in with a haymaker on this side, are you good enough to step through and do that stuff on the other side? Fun fact, most people really struggle doing that kind of stuff with both sides. What if the person comes through with like a big swinging back fist? That doesn't work. Are they going to do that? Statistically, no. But it's not a small enough. If they miss, they may come back. What if they have a knife? They're definitely willing to come back, right? So I think the more that we look at this from an intellectual standpoint, the more it informs how we do these things and how we teach these things. There's nothing wrong with thinking. Mark says, palm strike to the front, back fist to the rear, headbutt. Love it. Jenny says that Matt's saying there's more than one use. Kelly says it depends on front or back attack. You don't get to choose. You don't get to know. You have to pick 3. This is there's no wrong answer here. And this is, I like questions like this. I like thinking about things like this. Because if you have, And here's I'm picking on Kelly a little bit, but not really, because I'm sure the rest of you had these kind of thoughts. Depends on the situation. Yes, it does. But that's why it's valuable, because you have to pick three regardless of the situation. And it makes you think. It makes you think about things like statistical probability. It makes you think about things like, how am I dressed? Is it likely to be one person or several? It really all matters. So digging into that and spending the time thinking, that is the value. It's not the outcome. It's not the three techniques you say. It's how you think about it getting there. Tommy says Tiger steals the heart, basically step back route with circle block and a straight punch. Kodagash, and he'll take Taekwondo defensive side kick for his third. Kelly says front attack, palm heel to nose, knee to groin, knee to face. Oh, so you're changing it up depending on whether it's a front or back attack. Can't do that. You guys are having a good time with this. Good. I want you to think. Early morning deep thoughts. There we go. All right. I'm going to post something similar, not the same thing, but something that is along these lines. And I hope that you all will take some time to think about it, maybe post an answer. But if not, we'll talk about it tomorrow for Friday. Woo! And I hope those of you that seem to struggle thinking about this, I hope you'll spend some time thinking about this one. There's value in the struggle. All right. I hope you have a great day. I hope things go well for you. I hope you have a wonderful lunch. I might ask about your lunch again tomorrow. If you have comments or you want to ask another question or something sometime, Facebook group, facebook.com/first cup. Can't talk. Facebook.com/first cup with Jeremy. If you don't do Facebook, you can email me, jeremy@whistlekick.com. If you want to support us, we've got the family page, which I updated yesterday, as I told you I would. We've got the Patreon. I dropped an update in Patreon yesterday, patreon.com/whistlekick. And if you want to grab something like this mug, don't forget the code FIRSTCUP15 at whistlekick.com to save 15%. Save 15% on your new mug at whistlekick.com. That's my attempt at an insurance, like, end of the commercial voice. We do the show every weekday, 6:30 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time. Facebook, YouTube, Tuesdays and Thursdays on Twitch, Monday, Wednesday, Friday on Twitter. Come on. Switch. There we go. All right. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate you all, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Peace.